Cheers, cheers, cheers. Good evening, good morning, and good night, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining me, the Southern Gooner. I am Matt, and today I've got two of my pals that I hadn't seen in a while, but we had to get them back. One I hadn't seen in a long time, Brother Gary, and my main man, Darren, is in the building. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Good. Football's almost back.
Yep.
Got just over 12 hours plus, and then we'll see football.
Yeah, we got a nice break. No more international up until I think March there. So it's all business. We are officially in the meat and potatoes portion of the season now. So it's time to really get down into it. And so let's start this thing off. Let's go to the chat first before we even get to rolling here. Let's see who is in the chat. Shout out to Brother Lenny in the building. We hanging in there, brother. We doing well. I have recovered from all of that turkey and dressing yesterday. I actually got up and went to the gym this morning to work that off. So gentlemen, the international break has ended as we've stated, but there were a few things I took note of during the international break. The one major thing that I took notice of was we had a player who hadn't played for Arsenal in a while. Hadn't seen him. Said he was out, injured. All of a sudden, I look up. He's on the pitch playing for Brazil. Comes out of the game against Brazil, goes to the media, and he states that scoring is not his strong suit. Darren, what do you make of Gabriel Jesus? Hadn't played for us in a while. We've been told he's injured. He's out. All of a sudden, you look up, he is running down the pitch against Messi in the Maracanã. It didn't score in that game, by the way. I think he has not scored. Do you know this crazy stat? He has not scored for Brazil since 2017. Kind of sounds like his Arsenal career. Darren, take it away, bro.
Yeah, I did see that, him saying that very thing, that scoring is not really his bag. And really, it's a shame because I actually think he's got it in him to be like a good poaching striker. I think if somebody coached him properly to make the runs, be in the positions, he could be like, he could be getting 20 and 30. He's got it there. We can all see it. He's got it. But unfortunately, it's just like the modern game. It's like people are like, oh, well, we don't want to do what we did years ago. We want it like zigzag football, We want to be different. That was years ago. It don't really matter anymore. This is what we're doing now. And it is a crying shame, really, to see a player with all his ability just being put out on the wings, to run in sort of zigzags and be charging around, and he has got it. I do think he can get 20, 25 goals a season, but sometimes you look at him and you think, like he scored a goal in Europe away. I think it was at Lens. I thought the goal he got against Lens was a really good striker's goal. No messing about. Looked up, saw the corner of that, slotted it. Brilliant goal, and I've seen him, but last season against Leicester at home, no one in the crowd, I was standing behind the goal for that goal. No one knew what he really was going to do. He sort of had his back to goal, and looked round, chipped. It was a skillful goal. The bloke can be world class, but unfortunately, it comes down to the same old thing. He's been coached by probably Arteta at Man City. And now he's being managed by Arteta at Arsenal. So his development for me is not quite there. And is it surprising? It is a shame. And the bit about, he's injured for Arsenal, I suppose it could be that, he's been told, go and play your first game on international duty, and then if you have a good performance there, then you'll get considered straight back in the team for when we play against Brentford. That's a possibility. But for me, there's too many other this is not in isolation, right? This is going on all over our football club and team and squad at the moment. This nonsense about in, out, injury, in, out. It's ridiculous. I don't know if Arteta's got this brainwave where he thinks, I'm just going to put people in and out to keep them on grounded. Well, you don't win league titles like that. You don't even win FA Cups like that. You've got to have some consistency in your team. You've got to have some consistency, and I just don't think it's there. And if Arteta is playing that game, I pray that he gets found out very soon.
Gary, my friend, Jesus, he was out there. He was looking, he's moving and grooving. Brother, what do you make of that?
Well, I guess one, he's talking to the media, and talking about stuff that I don't think he should be talking about in terms of that kind of mentality. We've already got Ramsdale out there talking about things that we probably shouldn't be hearing. So for me, this is Arteta talked about like a mole and stuff, talking about what's going on in the locker room. That stuff sounds like locker room talk to me. That stuff I really don't want to hear that, because then when I see it, because I always say first you say it, then you do it. If you say I don't want to score, then basically your body indirectly, instinctively just does it. We've seen him, as Darren said, we have seen him score some really good goals. So I don't understand where that comment would come from. We've seen him score some really good goals. So to say like, you know what, I don't like, I'm not all about scoring. It's like, no. You have it in you. So, but if you're saying you don't, then guess what? You don't, because mentally you basically said, I don't want to do this anymore. And then you speak it, and then your body says, I'm going to do it. So I kind of feel like that's what he's doing there. Arteta, he needs to rein these guys in a little bit, because I don't want to hear any of this stuff. This is stuff that needs to be worked on with the manager in the back room and the psychologist and all this stuff that, that's the stuff that they work on, right?
That's what they say they work. Gary, do you think that, and I can hear Warren. I just in my head, I can hear Warren. I can hear Warren's voice. Do you think that this manager, let's go back to this comment here. Let me see if right here. Do you think that we're seeing cracks in the Arsenal locker room? Sometimes you can see things and you see it and you don't. Oh man, it's just the one. You really don't see it. But let's just look at this whole picture for this month alone. You hinted at it, and that's actually what we're going to talk about next. We'll get to Ramsdale in a minute. Ramsdale, the politician. I mean, Arteta coming out, he immediately going after the referees. Shout out to David Dean. We'll talk about him too tonight. And so, I mean, this looks like all of the hallmark makings for some trouble down the road. So carry on, my friend. I just wanted to throw that to you.
You're right. I mean, for me, coming into this season, the one thing I said is Arteta's only in his fourth year. For a manager in his fourth year, he's doing a lot. He's taken on a lot. He's done a lot. I mean, the numbers say that he's done a lot more than most managers in their first 4 years. Like first 4 years, not fourth year at Arsenal. First 4 years. Every day he steps into that, he steps into the Arsenal hat, puts a Arsenal hat on. It's the first time. A lot of the managers that we always talk about, they're sitting at their 10, 15 years of experience doing managerial work. So for me, I always say make things easy for yourself, right? Arteta has not done that. He's tried to go down a difficult road multiple times in a lot of the decisions he's made. And this is, some of the stuff we're going to talk about probably is there. But no, I didn't. You're just coming off an injury, and the first thing you want to say is, I don't want to score. I mean, what? He played 90 minutes. And you know what, for me, as somebody asked, who's starting this week? I'm like, he's playing. I can't, because for me, my understanding is if he feels he can play, you just play him. He's one of those players, you just play him until you go, you know what, you can't play anymore. I'm going to sit you down. That's what would have happened, I believe, if he was in City. They would have just played him until Pep said, you know what, your form's dropping. I'm going to set you down, rest you, rotate like I'm supposed to do. But a seasoned manager will do that. And so that's why I think Arteta just he's he's hesitant to hit the trigger and get these guys back on the pitch, but they need to be back on the pitch. They want to play, right?
Do you think
They want to play?
do you think that because see this is where I have this issue. Trossard comes in, he's on form, he's back out of the team. So I mean, I just it's been like this all year long. We'll get a player on form, something happens, he out. New player comes in, he's out of form. Player that was on form is now back off of form. You bring him in, he's off form again. Now it seems like this is how it's looking all year. It's been in and out and in and out. I don't feel like there is like the level of consistency that we had this time when we started as the team. It was we knew what was what, we knew what we were doing. This person was here, and it just seems like I feel like me personally. I feel like the team is consistent. It's like each week is something different. Each week is something different. The only one constant is the one play 29 and 30. No, 29 and what's his, I'm not going to call the names. Those two we know for a fact will play regardless of the fact. But everybody else has been in and out and in and out. All of these mystery injuries. Today I saw Odegaard. Apparently he had concussion. A concussion. What the hell are we doing in practice? Are we practicing for the NFL at practice now? I mean, so you see this silly stuff that's coming out of these training regimes, out of these training sessions and injuries. I mean, more players this year I've seen come out with, parting injured in practice. We got it's all over the place. So at what point do we have okay, this is who we're going with, and this is what we're doing going forward? To me, Gary, it feels like it's over and over and over. Same thing, different week. New person in, new person out. New person in, this person out. So, brother, what do you have to say about that, man? Because with Jesus coming back in, Trossard's out. We know that.
I hear you. And say hello to everybody in the chat. See a lot of people saying hello to us. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to us. Now, like you said, and I'll let Darren have a say as well on this one, but. Trossard, like for me, it would have been so easy, right? You saw how we'll start with the preseason. Let's look at the preseason, how that went. Which player looked like he was ready to go coming into the season? Only one player was standing out, right? Trossard. He looked really good, and we know he's got goals. I still go back to that. The man's got 3 goals at Anfield. Can we let him play? Can he start? Please. Do you know you need to win this? No, he doesn't start, and we saw how that ended up. So we know he's got it in him. So I play the hot man when you got him. If he learned anything from Pep is you play your players when they're hot, right? Foden is supposed to be the best player out there, but he rotates and sits on the bench more than I know. A lot of times I'm like, where's Foden at? And it's like, no, he's on the bench. When he comes out, he's hungry, ready to go. Trossard, as you said, looked hungry coming into the season. There's no time. There's no time for sentimentality, right? Trossard can start for our team, right? We're supposed to have more than 11 players that can start for this team. Doesn't matter if it's the first game of the season, doesn't matter if it's the last. We need to have 15, 16 players that can start. He can start for us. He's one of them, right? So he needs to be in there. We know. Yeah, so I think Arteta has he's learning, and that's the problem. I think a lot of people want him to be somebody, think he's not. He's not a 10-year vet doing this. He's learning, and I don't even know if he's listening to those that are on the sideline.
No, he definitely ain't listening here.
Because I think if Albert was running the squad, we'd probably see something totally different based on just the one snippet I saw of him, where he kind of led the team out of the the locker room and all of that. So yeah. You
know what's funny? You know what's funny, Gary, is that we're going to see Albert run this team somewhere in the next 3 weeks. I don't know where, because Arteta's going to get the suspension. So I am so anticipating looking at the team set up and to see how we move under him. That one game without Arteta coaching. Darren, your thoughts on this? This in and out of the team, and is this going to, with Jesus being back, is this going to we sending back Trossard back to purgatory.
Yeah, I mean, I've been sitting listening here now to what you're saying, and why are we 4 years into Arteta's reign of terror, and we don't have a settled squad? We don't even have a settled team, right? If these players were so good, why are they getting concussion? And let me tell you, Martin Odegaard has not got concussion.
Yeah,
because Tony Adams never had concussion, and he was putting his head amongst the boots back in the day. Odegaard doesn't come anywhere near Tony Adams for that, right? So, yeah, you know, why are we 4 years into Arteta's reign of terror, and we still haven't got a first 11 that are good enough? You know, when in the 2000s, 98, 2002, 2004, Thierry Henry, when he first turned up, in them first seasons, Henry went up front. I remember one season as a supporter, I was getting very greedy with my expectations, far more than what I am even now. And I was thinking, right, yeah, Henry's good. Yeah, he's good. But who are we getting in now to replace him? He's good. But who are we getting in? And I remember Wenger, we'd turn up at pre-seasons and we might have signed Francis Jeffers, who I still think was a good player, but nowhere near Henry's levels, obviously, but just a different player. But he was never going to get in above Henry and Bergkamp, not in a million years, right? And when I hear people slag Jeffers off, I don't agree with them. But I actually thought, who are we getting in to now say, right, who's pushing Thierry Henry? And I thought to myself, we ain't getting no one. Why? Why aren't we getting someone else better than him? But then about 6 months later, the penny dropped. Well, actually, Thierry Henry is the best. We've got the best. That's why we ain't getting anyone else in. But when I go on these streams, when I go on Facebook, when I listen to you guys, all I see is people saying we need to be in the market to get a striker. We need to be signing a striker. Why is that? Because the people that Arteta's brought in are nowhere near what we need. Yet all the fans say that he knows what we need. So, you know, it's just ridiculous. And what's very frustrating is these players are just doing enough to get in the top four, just doing enough to get in safety and not under the microscope. We'll lose one, then we'll win 4 or 5, draw one. People start scratching their heads thinking, not sure. And he just seems to be petering along, getting away with making us challenge but not succeed. And of course, that's when you bring in the club culture of top four and how we've got such a struggle as being the real Arsenal fans in exiting this dictator out the door and getting someone with a bit of tactical nous and sensible management of the team and squad in. But as long as he's in, it's just rinse and repeat. Just rinse and repeat. We'll be the nearly men and the nearly men again. And we'll get bullied away at Man City and we'll get bullied away at Liverpool. Same old, same old. You know, these players can't even build up a relationship on the pitch because they're all not playing at the same time. You know, even Song and Van Persie built up a relationship. Yeah. They're not mega legends at Arsenal by any stretch. But we had that sort of 18-month period where Song had the ball in midfield. He'd just be able to look up like that, see the run, chip the ball over, and Robin would slot it. And it'd be a goal. And everybody'd say, look at that. That's good. But how's that going to develop if Arteta keeps putting people out and in, back in again? It ain't.
Yeah, I think that we'll run into a situation here where this season is going. It's going. Me personally, I just feel like we don't have. You know, me and Gary, we've been talking for years, and the last 3 years we've been talking about we need a striker. We have this list of players. He says there's about 7 players. We're 7 players short.
It used to be 10, so now we're like, yeah, now it's about numbers going down.
Yeah, I mean, and unfortunately, you got to factor in the signings that we've got. 29, the Chelsea, the other Chelsea retiree, It can't. Yeah, I mean, you got to look at what it. Look at the numbers, and it's technically on paper, it looks like it's coming down, but it's still the same. But you look at that. You look at where we're going into the window. You look at the team. I just feel like there's, how when you cook something in a pot and it comes to boil, I just feel like we're at the phase where it's starting to come to pressure, and I just feel like at some point the top's gonna blow off. I don't know where. I just feel like Darren. I just feel like it's getting ready the top's gonna blow off.
I was convinced it was going to happen before Sevilla. When we lost to West Ham, Newcastle, I was hopeful. And look, this is ripping me to shreds as an Arsenal fan. I don't really want us to win too many games. I want this bloke out. I want him gone. And I don't care what anybody says. You can call me a Spurs fan till the cows come home. I don't care. I don't want to see this man here anymore. I've seen enough of him now. When he first got appointed, I thought, oh, no, that's not really right. But you know what? I thought to myself, give him a chance. You never know. He might, But the common sense logic is someone who's never managed before does not get given such a big club like that straight away. It's just not healthy.
Let's move over to the other elephant. So we removed from it. So last week we had what would I say probably shocking. It's one of the most shocking things we've had in a while. Nick Ramsdale comes out, goes on a media parade last week, promoting, why his son is not starting here at the Arsenal. If you want my thoughts on it, I'll tell you this. Just go back and look at all of the goals that were given up last year. Go look at the Kevin De Bruyne 30-yard screamer from 30 yards out. Look at the flaps. Look at there was one particular one. Shout out to Lee Gunn if you watch it. Hope you feel better, brother. I can't wait to be with you in Northside tomorrow. Brother, Lee showed a clip. He sent me a clip. Ramsdale was looking at a bird as another team was attacking. He was looking at the bird, and then he looked back up, and we got scored on. And Nick Ramsdale comes out, and he says that his son, he doesn't know why his son is not starting. Now, true enough, he's starting tomorrow, but that's a whole nother technicality. And then today we get the news that the deal has been agreed that Raya will be joining us in the summer, which, I mean, it was quite obvious that was going to happen anyway. Gary, I'm going to start with you on this one. First off, why is his dad coming out talking? I mean, you didn't see Kevin. You didn't see Martinez's daddy come out talking. Darren, we never saw Almunia's dad come out and speak there when Lehman was in goal. We never saw Fabianski's daddy come out and talk. We never saw my goalkeeper that went to Juventus, Szczęsny. We never saw when Wenger got on to him, and we never saw their parents come out and talk. Gary, what do you make of this gentleman's dad coming out here, and why is he doing that? Why is he doing it?
Yeah, I don't know why he's talking like that. This is, once again, it's something I don't need to be hearing some of this stuff. That kind of conversation needs to be between him and his son and maybe Arteta, if that's really where the problem lies. Going out there and talking about it to the masses, I think, is not necessary. Does not help his son at all. Does not help his son at all. And it's not necessarily that Arsenal's already made that decision when they brought in Raya, and the deal requires whatever the triggers are now, that now he's officially an Arsenal player. Arteta had made his decision already. This doesn't help. Once again, this more helps Arsenal on the way out. I always talk and I always complain about Arteta devaluing his players before we sell them. Guess what this just did? This just devalued the player. The player just devalued himself by letting his dad going out there and chatting. This is stuff for the back room. This stuff for and even you know what? It sounds as if this is how Arsenal works, and a lot of players. I think even I was listening to a show, and I think there was an old player on there, and he said basically the same thing. We just don't know why we get sat down, but they know, but they just don't get told. It just happens, organically. You're just not on the starting lineup. Next thing you know, you're out. You just, and you know what? You know this going in. If you, as you said, you look at what happened last season, and people complaining now about Raya and like his positioning on crosses is poor, and that's probably he's a little flaky with some of the passes. Well, we saw all of that from Ramsdale, right? Ramsdale at the near post. If you want to score, you just hit at the near post. He seems to not be able to cover that part. Raya has his bits and pieces right now, but I think Arteta created all of this. There's no need for this drama, so we're blaming it on Arteta, but these two players are in the middle of it. We've got a fan favorite in Ramsdale. Everybody's kind of backing him, which I kind of find like it doesn't even sound right. He's a fan favorite, I get it, but if this was some other player, if this was Saka or Saliba, would they be saying that's all right if some other player comes in and then Saliba gets treated this way, right? Because that could happen. Oh no, it'll never happen because we'll never bring in a better player. That's probably another problem in itself, right? But they can bring if you can bring in the amount we bought in how many goalkeepers now?
I was going to leave.
We had Martinez, right? We had Leno. We had to choose between the two of them.
6.
Martinez says I don't,
I was going to leave that. I was going to leave that going into down. But yeah,
since you brought in Ramsdale, the writing was on the wall. They are okay because we didn't need a goal. I think everybody was more okay with Leno than they were like all the other pieces that were missing. You know what I mean? Once again, you bring in Ramsdale. We are okay with Ramsdale for now. We know we can do better, but there are a lot of other holes that we probably should be looking at. Like you just created drama, and now we've got this issue. Now as I said, going back to the interview, that did no good for anybody. No. Now his son's got to go out there and perform. Right, he's got more pressure on him than he knows. He makes a bad decision out there. He makes a bad read on a ball in the air. Whatever, it's going to be bad. And this is created by Arteta, but now he's put this undue pressure on his players now, right? So, and that's why I think sometimes pressure creates diamonds. Sometimes it just smashes it to pieces. You know what I mean? Depending, so you have to watch it. So I kind of felt like, that one, his dad, that's not good for me. And as you said, we barely have the continuity we need as a squad right now. We don't need to be creating, putting cracks in the armor that we have already, breaking down a little bit of, like I can see it just creating a bigger mess as it is, right? We don't need, you're on top of your group, sitting third by a goal and a really maybe some would say a bad call in a Newcastle game, or a very poor finishing early in the season when we should have finished off a game we didn't. Those are 2 points. That's 1 or 2 points there that we have on ourselves not got the job done. So we could be definitely undefeated at this point in the season easily. But it wasn't. Go back to that. It's not good for anything. I wish I wish he would have talked to his son, and I wish his son would have told him, "Dad, leave it alone. Let me handle this." Yeah, because it sounded like he was going to handle it, or he's at least showing that he's telling us he's handling it. You know what I mean? But his dad going out there and speaking about it, not good, not good at all.
Darren, as Garrett said, this is 6 goalkeepers. Under this regime, 6 goalkeepers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then that we signed a Ray of 7. We let a World Cup winning goalkeeper walk out of there. He would let him leave. We let Leno leave for pennies on the dollar. Ramsdale comes in. We paid $35 million for him. A year passes by. Now we're bringing in another goalkeeper, paying him I think about the same amount of money. You've been watching Arsenal longer than I have, Darren. I don't think I can ever recall in the history that 7 goalkeepers were signed in a 4-year period.
No, it's just not happened. And I mean, that was quite. I felt really sorry for Emmy after the cup final because they interviewed him and he was emotional because he didn't want to go. He wanted to stay, and he did well. He was a big part of us winning that FA Cup because he come in the back line and all of a sudden he brought a lot of calm to the defence. He weren't doing silly things with distributing the ball at close quarters and kicking it long. And 6'4", the bloke is a bit of a mountain, if I'm honest. And he's won the World Cup of Argentina. I don't think you're going to be a clown if you win the World Cup with your national team. But anyway, so that was the first bit of damage Arteta did. Now, a big point for me in all this, Raya got bought in at the start of the season. So you had Raya and Ramsdale in the team. Arteta hasn't even handled that properly because if you're going to bring Raya in, surely you should be sitting Ramsdale down straight away and saying, actually, I've got this new goalkeeper in. I think he's better than you. You're taking a back seat for the whole season. Sit on the bench, and if he gets injured, then perhaps you'll get your chance. But until he gets injured or he throws the ball in the back of his own net, then forget it. He's the new man on the block. But Arteta either hasn't got the bottle to make decisions like that, or what Arteta does, he likes to be Mr. Nasty and torture people's minds. So what he's done with Ramsdale is said, oh, yeah, I've got this bloke in to compete with you. He's going to be on the bench, knowing that he's coming in anyway. Give him a few games and then just go, swap the goalkeepers. And then what do we get? No wonder, Nick Ramsdale is jumping up and down. I mean, I don't justify Nick Ramsdale jumping up and down because I think it's pathetic. He shouldn't be getting involved. But this is the damage you cause when you go poncing around doing these Amazon documentaries. They got Ramsdale's dad in the stands and were interviewing him about how is it when you see your little boy plays for Arsenal Football Club. He's done a big interview. He's riding the whole crest of a wave of failure, riding it, and he feels Ramsdale's dad feels part of it all. So the club have involved Ramsdale's dad as if to say, you're in the club. You're in here with us. They should be saying, yeah, Mr. Nick Ramsdale, here's 10 tickets for every home game, you and your family. You go and sit at the back of the upper tier and keep your mouth shut. We run the team. We run the squad. Nothing to do with you. No Amazon documentary. We want to win the league and Champions League. And we're focused on that. Not creating dramas on Amazon. Yeah? Bad. Toxic for the club. But we all know this club, they want the money, but they're not too bothered about the trophies. And that ethos drips down cascades like poison throughout the whole of the club. So therefore, Nick Ramsdale should have stayed well clear, but he feels like he's part of it and he's got an audience. And after they've invited him in, there's part of me that thinks, well, actually, he thinks he's got a right to start saying, well, why ain't my son in the team? But it's ridiculous because parents, as much as you might think, you're gutted and devastated, your son's lost his place, and you got to just tell them, get on with it. Because at the end of the day, let's be honest, it ain't the end of the world for Ramsdale, is it? Because he ain't going to go and play for Accrington Stanley after Arsenal, is he?
No.
He's going to be going somewhere. He's going to get another Premiership team because he can. He's a good shot stopper. He can put a good save in and that. He's a little bit like the England goalkeeper Pickford, really. I think he's very much like Pickford. A little bit sort of unpredictable, not strong, steady. You look at the goalkeepers we've had David Seaman, strong, steady. You wouldn't see any catastrophic mistakes from him. All right, he got lobbed twice in big games, but look, that can happen, can't it? Jens Lehmann, I think, is my favourite Arsenal goalkeeper, but he was a little bit unpredictable. But he would have probably hit his dad if his dad got involved. Yeah. He probably would have never spoke to him ever again, because that was the mentality that Jens Lehmann had. Proper professional.
So this week, first off, shout to Montology about this. I'm going to come after I talk about what we talk about next. We'll go to this. He says, I'd rather have 7 strikers than 7 keepers. We're going to come back and we're going to tackle that in just a second. So you just hold tight, brother. I'm putting a star by that. We're going to come back to that. Let's move on to my main man, the man that had the plan. Yeah, you wonder who I'm talking about, don't you, Gary? David Dean.
Oh.
David Dean comes out this week over on Talk Sport. I forgot to pull the audio down so we could listen to it. So he comes out. They talk about the Newcastle game, and basically, long story short, David Dean says he would have had to have had a word or two with Arteta after the Newcastle game, after calling out the referees. And he goes on to say that, you have to, you can understand that he was frustrated, but you also have to look at the part that you played in that one shot on goal, which is what I've been trying to tell people about that game. At no point did it look like we even were threatening to Newcastle. One shot on goal. And of course, everybody, the first thing comes out, guys, I was embarrassed, guys. We the referees were atrocious. How can this happen? The X, Y, and Z. And which I think would be a game that we'll look back in April, and you'll be pissed that we didn't get the 3 points in that game. I just, when you have club legends, when you have, as I would say, Arsenal royalty comes out and says that he would have had to pull him to the side. And I can actually see that. I can actually see, because David Dean's that kind of guy. No nonsense. He pulled Arteta to the side. And a lot of people, he got a lot of flack this week about that. I saw a lot of people saying, who's this old man? But he doesn't know what he's talking about. Nobody's listening to what this guy. And when I saw that, I said, these are people who would not even be supporting Arsenal because they don't even realize the players he brought into this club. You can walk around the stadium. There's about 3 statues out there of players that he had a hand in bringing to this club. And I just think that if he comes out and when a person like that speaks, and this is actually good, and people will say, well, why you say that, Matt? Because we need more of the older brass coming out, speaking and saying things about what's going on. And not just, signing up to give out free T-shirts, programs, and Coke and crackers. And to come out and say that kind of stuff, because he knows that down the line, this is the way David Dean's thinking about this. David Dean's looking down the line. There's going to be a couple of more games coming down the stretch where we may actually need some refereeing calls. We may need a call to go our way. And now that Arteta's put the target on his back, I mean, don't think we're not going to get the blessings of VAR that we got last year, because there was a couple of games last year we got the total blessings of VAR, and I didn't see any fans going crazy. I didn't see them saying, "Oh, this is a mark," this, that, and the third. But Darren, I'm going to start with you on this one. The Arsenal legend comes out, criticizes the manager. What were your thoughts when you saw that this week?
Well, it reminds me of that scene in the film Casino, the guy with a cowboy hat, Robert De Niro, is running the sort of scene, and he's the sheriff, the old-fashioned sheriff, and he's got his hat on like this, and he's gone in and gone, you got a license? And it all goes to court, and at the end of the day, when you see Robert De Niro getting dragged through the courts, he's there with his hat on, just looking, not saying anything, just looking, because it's like, I'm pulling the strings here, not you. I do think that that game, the Newcastle game, my own opinion was it was a disgraceful refereeing performance. But having said that, and VAR was a joke. I don't like VAR. I'd get rid of it. you're just introducing another referee. You might as well have 6 referees with VAR, because you've got all these people in this room at Stockley Park somewhere all going, oh, look, line, this, that, the other. So you're just asking for another load of opinions. And we all see the game differently. Some people will say the ball's out. Other people will say the ball's in. Some people say that's a fair tackle. Other people say, no, it's not. So what are we doing having VAR? But that's a conversation for another day. But so we've, as far as I'm concerned, it was a disgrace. I think the other bloke, Guimaraes, should have gone as well for his strike as well, right? And so should have Havertz. He should have been red carded straight away. That was a red card. Aubameyang did half of what he did at Crystal Palace on the halfway line a couple of seasons. Red card, off. Right, so, and then Arteta knew that he'd lost, and he knew that the players weren't good enough. He knew he set that team up all wrong. Jorginho is a lightweight. Havertz is a donkey. He's assembled a squad of lightweights and donkeys to go up to Newcastle, and the wheel's coming off. He's lost at West Ham the previous day game, and so he thinks, well, the only way out of this for me now is to blame the referee and make a big issue and attack them, and that was the only thing he could get away with. You know, that's the only thing that made him sort of escape, and that, all of a sudden everyone's not talking about Arsenal's shambles performance with their lightweights and donkeys. They're talking about VAR. They're talking about Arteta. They're talking about, was the ball in or out? So he's got to do what he's got to do to survive, and a rat will do what they have to survive. And Arteta's a rat.
Darren, do you think that Arteta he's a desperate man at this stage? Do you feel like he's becoming a desperate man? If you watch
at the moment, I think he thinks he's still untouchable, really. I think he knows that things are not good, but I think because he's got credit in the bank because of the Champions League, and we're still not effectively out of the title, we're still in the FA Cup when it starts, and we're still in this Champions League, which we're never going to win. And we're out the group stages if we win in midweek, which we should do, or get a draw in midweek, which we should do. So I don't think Arteta is too nervous at the moment, because he knows that against the bang average teams, we're flat track bullies, and we'll be able to just knock them over 2-1, 1-0, 3-1 like Burnley. And it's the odd Newcastle away where the leopard spots can't, not the leopards can't change the spots, but it's against the Newcastles away and the Liverpools away, and the, you know, these tough games where the acid test, it's an acid test.
Yeah.
I think Tony Adams used to say it's the acid test. And when we come up against the acid test, Arteta fails every time. All right, we beat Man City, and I went to that game, but we really did strangle the life out of that game. It was almost like, I mean, this is a Mourinho parking the bus tactic. We won that game, and we just got lucky in the last minute, deflected shot, 1-0. It was like a cup tie, you know.
David Dean, Gary, comes up. He says what he needs to say. I'll pull this up here. Shout out to brother Iconoclast. Matt, after Mr. Dean had to say something about Arteta incident after the club backed him, do you think Arsenal haven't gotten proper leadership from the boardroom? We'll let both of y'all tackle that, but we'll start with you first, Gary.
Okay. You know, initially when I was just listening to Darren, I was just thinking about.
I'm listening. I'm grabbing water.
No problem. You know what I believe. Or what I think's happening, and this is the same thing. This is no different than Nick's dad out there talking. This is my first thought is, why isn't David Dean just talking to Arteta? Though I would like to think they have some sort of a relationship to some degree. Maybe, you know, I know things of the old guard and the new guard. Sometimes they clash and all of that, but I kind of feel like any little thing you can get from some of the old timers, the players the players and the management had been there before would help. So, and I think what he was saying, I think is it's like, dude, you don't need to. If you're going to talk about that, you better talk about your team as well. That's all. Because I think people they probably would have still harped on that you went about the refs, but they would have said, you know what, he did bring up the fact that his team did not look the way. I think we're better than that. I definitely think we're better than that. Better than the way we've played in most of the games of this season. Part of that, I think, is the way, and this is on Arteta again, is the way he set up his team. The way Darren has said it, like it doesn't matter injuries anymore. Just get your best 11 and make sure they work. Whatever those players are. I think we have 11 players we can put out there. Let them play. If you're injured, you got to work your way back in. I believe after you worked your way in, you got an injury, you come back. But to start the season, we did not have what we would have wanted in terms of the starting 11. So at that point, you go with what you got, build them up, get them going, and move on. But I think like I said, the David Dean discussion, I think I would have liked that to be something behind the scenes and then it comes out later kind of thing, because it needed to be said. A lot of things go out to the media before they should. The next discussion should be in the back room. The Ramsdale concentration thing should have been in the back room. I would like to feel like David Dean should be able to walk into the Arsenal offices and sit down with Arteta and say, but dude, maybe that's not the right way to go about it, because you might not get the calls you want. I personally believe we're never going to get the calls we want. So guess what? Just put the ball in the hole. Put the ball in the net. They can't take it back. You put the ball in the net 5 times, they're going to at least let 3 through. There's nothing, you know what I mean? Just put the ball in the net. That shuts up everybody. Shuts up the fans that don't like you. Shuts up the fans that hate you, because that's what we need to do. And we can't look at all the players we got that were in double figures, like almost 20 goals and assists last season. We got players with the talent to do it. Why aren't they doing it? I saw on Arteta, right? That's on Arteta. Injuries can't be an excuse anymore. You need to be filling holes when somebody goes out. Figuring out, like for me, I always, even like at the end of Wenger's days, one of the things I always said to myself, just put the best 11 players out there. I don't care if they're playing out of position. I'd rather have them play than who you're bringing out. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna, like I'd rather have Reece Nelson play at a right wing and let Saka play at a right back if that meant we didn't have to play somebody in the right back that I was like, no, that's not going to work, because I know Saka can do it. I've seen him do it. We've all seen him do it. And you know what? The big teams do that. We saw City will do that. They put Bernardo Silva back and said, "You go ahead and guard Saka in this game, and we'll see how it pans out." And it worked for them. As soon as they changed things around, they put it away from us, and that's the kind of mindset we should be in, right? Like Arteta sat there, he sat behind next to the man doing this to him. So I'm like, if that's what if that's what's on your CV, you sat next to him, then please show me some of that. Show me that. Show me what, like I'd be surprised that all the things that we're seeing with Pep these days isn't something he hinted at when Arteta was sitting next to him, or they were having dinner or out on a beach or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Some of that stuff's going to rub off, and that's what he needs to be. I'm looking at a Rodri, and I'm like, where's our Rodri? Right? Where's our Rodri? Come on.
You know where he's at.
I think we have got a Rodri now, Declan Rice.
No, I know, but like we have one. I think, but he's like a nicer Rodri. I want that guy. I want that guy who's pissing you off as a rival.
Gary,
this guy never gets a yellow. I don't. But then he scores on me. Like he shuts. We've seen him do it once. He needs to be the man. I think he's moving that direction, right? He's moving that direction. But
Gary,
these injuries have hurt us and slowed him down to where I want him to be. Go ahead.
$65 million was spent on our road.
Oh, see that? Well, you trying to get me all wild up here? No. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not getting crazy. I'm not gonna get mad.
65 million smackers. The cold ones was spent on our Roji.
Yeah.
35 million was spent on the world-class center back. We had another a couple of million splashed out on the retiree. I mean, just look at the money. I mean, people say, well, the Kroenkes hadn't spent any money. Well, he spent plenty of money. I just look at where he's getting spent.
They still are at fault, though, right? We're not good. They're not.
Well,
They're not clean. Their hands are still
them.
dirty, right? Their hands are still.
Hey, I'm not exonerating them. I'm just saying that the money's been given, but look at where the money's been spent. Darren.
Yeah.
Darren. Let's talk to you. Let's see what you have to say about. Did I come to you for David Dean? I'm getting old now. You have to excuse me. I'm getting old. Did I come to you for David Dean?
Yeah, I mean, I've got utmost respect for David.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I don't think I started with Garrett first. No, I thought I got confused there. I'm sorry. Sorry about that, gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, I've got utmost respect for the bloke. He was always behind our big marquee signings. Whenever our marquee signings were made, you'd see David Dean behind all of it. And I once heard that Simon Jordan say that David Dean would try and sell you a player with a chocolate leg, in negotiations. And that's what we need. But come on, let's be brutally honest. When you look at these deals and how they stack up, they just don't stack up. 65 million from Chelsea for Havertz, 12 million for Jorginho. I mean, didn't Thierry Henry cost 10 million, I think, or something like that? So what we're saying is Havertz is 6 times the player Thierry Henry is, perhaps. So maybe I'm being a bit unkind because of inflation and but
the questions that he's answering, that's the problem. He's supposed to answer some questions for us. What questions has he answered for us?
None. I mean, Germany played him at left back. Just
think about that, Darren. Stop and think about that. Put a pin in it right there. His own country doesn't believe in him. Hey, man, just play left back. I mean, when have you seen Germany move? Let's move Bastian Schweinsteiger. Let's put him at left back. Let's put Mario Götze. Let's put him at left back. I mean, this just goes to show you that. And I was funny because I told Lee the other day. Lee sent it to me, and I said, "Don't get any. The whole Arteta doesn't get any ideas after watching this, because that's what his own country thinks about him there. I mean, he's at left back. So,
well, I didn't realise how bad he was till I saw him play against Fulham. I was behind the clock end goal against Fulham, and I was a hope when we signed him. I thought, no, what are we doing? When he played for Leverkusen, and I heard of his reputation, he was knocking the goal. I think, well, he looks all right. Chelsea, yeah, they just signed a player, yeah, fair play to him. So he's come in at Chelsea, he scored the winner in the Champions League, which he'll probably dine out on for the rest of his life. Maybe that's his issue. He's dining out on being a Champions League winning goal scorer, and he just can't get out of bed in the morning and get motivated anymore, because in his mind he thinks, well, how are you going to beat that? But you should be thinking, I want to do it again and again and again, right? That's what you should be thinking. But anyway, not everyone supports and has the same mindset as winners, do they? But so he's gone to Chelsea, he's got that. And then when he come to us, I thought, oh, no. But being a supporter, I thought, you've got to get behind him a bit. And I'd see he'd nick the odd goal for Chelsea here and there. It's come up on Sky Sports, Soccer Saturday or whatever, you're watching it. Oh, look, Havertz has got another goal again. Never prolific for Chelsea. But then we go and sign him, and I think, what are we going to do with this bloke? And I was hoping he was going to be like a player called Paul Mariner we used to have in the late sort of 80s. He passed away only a short time ago. He was a big England striker, played for Ipswich when they beat us in the FA Cup in 78. And he was a big bloke, but what he used to do is just hover in the box, and anything loose, he used to snap it up, score. And he was good in the air. And when we signed Havertz, I put the old YouTube on, started looking at clips, because that's what you do, right? Not ideal, but you can't go and watch every game in the world. So that's what you do. So I put it on. And I noticed a lot of the goals he got for Chelsea, he was in the middle of by the penalty area. They'd put the ball in high and he'd nod one in. We hadn't tried that once with him since he's been at this club. Not once. Because he had a header. like that, like the goals he was. You go up on YouTube, put Kai Havertz, Chelsea, and go and watch most of the goals he scores for Chelsea, and it's a high ball coming in the box by the penalty area, and he knocks it in. We ain't done it. We ain't tried it. Why? You've gone and spent 65 million on this player. At least then sitting down and go, well, we've seen you've done this. Tell you what we'll do. We'll start you off. You ain't getting in the first team. I don't care if you're 65 million. We're going to start you off on the bench. If we're struggling or whatever we're going to do, even if we win, lose or draw, you'll come on with about 20, 30 minutes left. We'll throw you on. And then at half-time, if Arteta says to the players, look, this is what we're going to do, and whatever we're going to do in the last 20 minutes, we're going to confuse the opposition to fuck, pump a few eyeballs in the box and try that and get more goals. Yeah? Has Arteta tried any of that? No, he ain't. Because he's not a manager. Right, he can't vary things up. It's disgusting, So, we just ain't bothered trying to get the best out of the bloke. But when I went to the Fulham game at home, I'm not joking. He didn't look like anyone's got a boot up his arse training him, running. He just jogs about. We've all seen it. I don't need to keep going on about it. He just jogs about, and I'm going to go and watch a non-league game tomorrow. I ain't got a ticket to Brentford away, right? There's a non-league club called Wealdstone up the road from where I live, right? And I'll go and watch that, and I'll guarantee when I watch their strikers tomorrow, they're nationwide league actually. They're not non-league. They're like just off like League Two.
Yeah.
And I'll guarantee all the strikers on display tomorrow will be better than Havertz.
So Darren, this is your assignment for tomorrow. I want you to, when you record, how you record your video, I want you to record the players running around and you cut your piece of video that you normally cut.
That's it.
Yeah.
Bit of speed, bit of pace,
Yeah. A little bit of power,
Yeah.
But yeah. So gentlemen, let's go back to this comment here. Before we start to round it off a little bit here.
Can I say something about
go ahead.
Number 29, not even number, I don't even know what position he plays. But I said going into this season, the only way this thing will work is if we get a similar intro like we got when Jesus first came onto the pitch for Arsenal halfway through. I forgot what game it was we were playing, but halftime he came on halftime and basically bang. I don't need to see any more. Put him in cotton wool. We'll see him at the start of the first game. We're done. That's what it looks like. Number 29 cost what, 10 mil, 20 mil more than him? 25
million more in the.
And I don't. Right now, I'm like, I don't expect
50 games, Gary.
Yeah,
I don't, 50 games.
I don't expect anything from him until next season because he's not going to give it to us this season. Because he's going to keep pushing him out there.
Gary.
And man he doesn't want it. He does not want to be out there.
Did you say next season?
That's the only way it's going to. I'm telling you, the only way we're going to see something out of him is if he's still on this. Right now, this might be the best choice, but I think we're not going to see what we want out of him this season because he's going to keep pushing him out there and it's going to kill him mentally, or he's going to play him the way he should, which is you just come on when I need you.
I say put him up top and just let him run.
Let him run around. Like I think
he doesn't say he'll do the same thing Eddie doing.
He's physical. He kicks players. Havertz 29. He puts himself about. He kicks players, but that's not what we ain't. We
didn't bring him in for that because we knew our midfield was light. We didn't need to let Xhaka go and bring in another player or two. We needed to keep Xhaka and bring in two players. That's what we needed to do. That's the crazy part. Yes, I'm sorry. I said the word. I said it. I know, Darren. I'm sorry. You guys are ringing. They're burning. It's probably bleeding right now. I'm sorry, but they finally figured out what to do with Xhaka, and then they let the man go. Right? That's what I've
got another theory on that one.
But I know some people said dude, what we needed him to stay, or we needed somebody better than him. We didn't get it either, and we failed both times on that one. But no, I want him to do well, but I see him this is the same thing I say about Nketiah as well. they don't do the little things. Like and Kenny does not run at all on the pitch. Like he's pressing, he's just jogging towards the man with the ball, and then they just pass it away. No, you got to put pressure on them, run at them. Number 29, ball comes into the box. He's hesitating. He doesn't want to go in there. He might get bumped. That's what it looks like. If you watch him run, he's like, no, I'm not going to run. He hesitates for a little bit, and then he's always late. I mean, the header in the last match, far post all by himself. You got to get that on target, man. You're supposed to be this big. The header is supposed to be the thing you do. Nope, not even close to being. Not even going towards the goal.
Not even going towards the goal. I mean,
that's going away from the post. And you're like, there was nobody else there but you. All you do is just. So I like I said, I don't expect much from them this season. I think the way they entered into this whole Arsenal thing was already the sign. The way the preseason went was already a sign. Especially when you look at Timber. Did Timber look like a man that wasn't going to work day one? Day one, you're like, got it. Yep, we know he can play anywhere. Just put him on the pitch, he'll play. Anywhere on the back line, I think he'll do it. Outside, whatever you want to do, the man will do it for you. Easy. Rice, we knew we were going to get, and we got exactly what we wanted. I believe Ray has given Arteta what he wants. Fans don't like it because they like Ramsdale, but guess what? To the fans, I don't think Arteta should care. If he wants whatever he wants, that little 5% that Ray is going to give him, he thinks that's going to do the job for him. Then that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. He wants that 5. It's like that the house money. I want to just move that percentage towards my side. He's thinking that's just that little bit gives me more. He'll take the risk on all the bad things because he's getting it anyways with Ramsdale. So I think all these things but 29. He should not be on. He should. There's no way he should be. Play starting for us unless it's that last Champions League game when we've already hopefully sewn up, the top spot there. He can get that one. That's at home. He should feel comfortable and play him where where I think he should play up top. Play him up top. If we've seen Nketiah play out on the left or the right, let him play there to get his minutes up. But play a player that I think will do wonders for us in that middle. He's not going to be good in the midfield. He's not going to do good for us in the midfield. So just play him where he's best suited to succeed. That is not midfield. Please, Arteta, just push him up the pitch. I think maybe we can trigger something there. I don't think so, but at least it gives us let somebody else get in that midfield. I think.
Yeah, he's out.
What hurts is all the injuries and I think the one player that I think Emile Smith-Rowe probably hurt us a little bit by him being injured because he maybe could have played in that midfield maybe to help out, but we don't.
If you're a defender and you've been going for 65, 70 minutes dealing with Saka and Martinelli, right?
Yep.
And you're centre back or left or right back, and you've got Nketiah up front who's lightweight, just buzzing about but not doing a lot. And all of a sudden, you've concentrated your focus. That's what you're doing for 60 or 70 minutes. All of a sudden, you've got someone the size of Havertz who comes on, who gets in the box, and a high ball comes in. You've got to change, right? And that to me just seems to be too much for Arteta to comprehend.
How did he remember the assist that he got in the game where the long ball came in from? I forgot who it was. He
headed it back across.
And you're like, if that's like I always say, bottle that. Let's do it again. All right.
Yeah, Man City gun. Yeah.
Bottle that. Let's do it again because that's what we want him for.
Yeah.
That right there.
Exactly.
If that's all he's good at, then damn it, that's what we're going to go with for the rest of the year. That's all your job is going to be is to hit. If the ball comes in, you hit it back across the field. Go. Don't worry about scoring. We just need you to hit the ball back to somebody so they can help them score. That's all we need you to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it needs to be. This is a perfect segue. Back to the comment, I'd rather have 7 strikers than 7 keepers. Gentlemen, we are about a week away from the month of December, which now officially puts us a month away from our favorite time of the year, the January transfer window. Now, all of us that sat on this panel last year, we sat the year, Gary, we sat the year before that. Me and Tony, shout out Tony Clark Gunner. If you're still in the chat, brother, we're going to be starting our transfer window discussions that we know won't lead to anything. But there's one name that is on the lips of every Arsenal, well, most Arsenal supporters. And that is one Ivan Toney. Now, the report I heard today in passing was that Chelsea is pulling out. They don't want nothing to do with it. They say he's 28. We're not going to, Brentford's not budging on the price. I guess they've reached their quota for spending for the year. I guess so, considering they've got some stuff they got to deal with. And he prefers to come to Arsenal. Now, how many players have we seen prefer to come to Arsenal? Julian Draxler. You can just go down the list of players that all wanted to be Arsenal players. And where did they go? They ended up going somewhere else. We had Mudryk, 99 million. He went the other way. You had Caicedo. He almost broke the team down last year to come to Arsenal. And guess what? He ended up going over to the other lot. And so now Ivan Toney has entered the fray, who, for all intents and purposes, is the player I would love for us to sign. So, Darren, January is right around the corner, and we know that we need a striker. There's no doubt about it. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We need a 20-goal striker, a minimum 18-goal striker. What are you doing in January, and do you think that Arsenal will go in for Ivan Toney?
I'd go in for Ivan Toney, definitely. I mean, he's actually quite skillful for a big player. I remember seeing him put one ball in on Match of the Day, and he was out on the left wing. He sliced the ball, cut the last defender open for the other striker to just be in on goal and get a goal. So he's actually got a bit of skill about him as well. You know, he's not all about just getting goals, you know. So I think it'd be ideal for us. Yeah, I'd pay the money. I'd go and get him. If they said to us 150 million, I wouldn't be paying the money for it. I don't know how much they're asking. But another player I like at Brentford is Mbeumo, who's like a little nippy striker who gets on the end of stuff, knows how to make the runs, and actually can slot goals from outside the box as well. There's not just Toney out there. There's lots of options. Don't forget, everyone's got a price. Yeah, start digging into the transfer kitty and start dismantling some other Premiership teams. Go and start buying their best players. If we really want to go out and do it, we all know that ain't going to happen. We know it's not going to happen. Are Arsenal Football Club going to do their classic? Oh yeah, we tried and we made a bid and Brentford said no, and then we've gone back and shuffling around and then we won't get anyone. And they go, well, we tried, but maybe in the summer, who knows? That is.
We'll end up with Javinho. They'll go back. They'll get Javinho out of retirement and say
Javinho, yeah, dear me, another disaster at the club. But we should have four. I always said we should have four strikers at the club, like we had Carnu, Wiltord, Bergkamp, Henry. For like Man United had Dwight York, Cole, Sheringham, Solskjaer. 4 quality strikers on both squads. So where have we got to this? Have we got to? Has football changed? Is it the strikers? Has the standards dropped now? The strikers are just not out there. Is it a generational thing where people don't work as hard anymore? So as a striker, you had to work harder and run around, and people don't want to do that anymore. And the game is not coaching players to be like that anymore. I don't know. It's a bit of a myth to me why every club seems just to have one good striker, and then we ain't even got one good striker. Maybe you could argue Trossard is the man. I'll definitely put up an argument for Trossard because I think any sort of myths that he weren't willing to get stuck in should really be dispelled after that goal he scored against Burnley, because he really threw himself in like that. And that is just great to see. When you see that, when you go and see a game like that and you've paid the money to go in, or even if you pay your subs on the telly, that's what you pay your money for. See the players put proper effort in and get goals. They're sometimes better than the goals where it's technically very skillful and goals get whipped in from 25 yards. To see someone throwing themselves in and giving themselves an injury when they get a goal, it's brilliant. But it's a bit of a myth, a bit of a mystery, really, why a lot of these clubs have not got good strikers now. We're Eddie Nketiah, we all know his championship level. All right, he got his hat-trick against Sheffield United, but what Sheffield United? They're a championship outfit. They're not even in the Premier League. They won't be in the Premier League next season. So we got Nketiah, Trossard, Kai Havertz, who I think is meant to be a striker, but he's a midfielder because Arteta's probably going to play him at left back tomorrow. So you can't really count him. So it doesn't really leave us a lot, really, does it? And Jesus, who's come out and said that he don't like scoring goals now.
And can't stay healthy. He's in and out of the team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Gary. So, me and you like to, we hadn't done it in a while, but we like to come up with scenarios. Why can't you go to Brentford with some cash, a little cash? You reach back in the coffers, 30 million off the top, and you go in with Eddie Nketiah, and you say, "Hey, man, what can you do for us?" Mm-hmm. Is that not a fair deal?
I like that idea. I mean, look, you've got he's got 5 goals already scored in the Premier League season. He's got to be quality, right?
Yeah, I mean,
he scores goals. I mean,
yeah. Well, hey, we got to sell it. We got to sell it. Yeah, I mean, hey,
you know what? If you're selling it, that's what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
You got a young up-and-coming striker. You already got 5 goals already in the short season. He's not even. We can't play him enough because we don't have a spot for him. You should take him. You've been living without Tony for the first 4 months. You won't miss him. Won't miss him. You're doing all right without him. But I'm giving you something that's fresh, new, ready to go. He's been playing all season. You just push him into the lineup. You're good to go. So that's how. No, I pulled out a tissue because I was like, I think we might be crying because if I had my choice, I think for me, I want a midfielder first if I had a priority. I get what we need a striker. I do.
So Gary,
but for me, I don't think right now. I think we are because we keep. I think if number 29 wasn't playing the midfield, I would think we're good. But I think as long as that's still an option, I want something better than because those. I always say that back 6, Rice, the back line, and Raya or Ramsdale, whoever, we're set.
Are you looking for a defensive mid? What are you looking for? A defensive mid?
No. I want that 8. I want that 8 that's going to either play whatever side of Odegaard, wherever you want to put Odegaard, but somebody else. I want somebody else to play in midfield.
You do know Trossard can play that, right?
No. Well, yes, I know he can do that, but and you know what? For my lineup, somebody asked me for a lineup this weekend. What I did, the way I had it set up was, if Odegaard's if he's healthy, bring him in. But I want Trossard starts for me. I don't care if what he did. Yeah. See, you've got Trossard, you got Zinchenko, all can. Personally, I don't want you. I think we may have screwed that one up already. I think Arteta screwed it up. I think he can play it, but Arteta screwed that up.
Do you think that Arteta can't? Is it a case of not that he screwed it up, but a case that he just refuses to play him there? That's clearly, we saw this a couple weeks ago. And like tomorrow would be a great game for him to play in that position.
Here's the thing: as soon as he puts him there, as soon as Partey hopefully miraculously gets healthy, he's on the bench. He knows
Partey's
that.
not going to be on this team at the minimum. He won't be on this team until March, February.
Oh, is that where we're at now?
Yeah,
With that?
but he's got to go to the AFCON.
I think Partey's getting sold, isn't he, in January?
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. He's getting
you know, I
so
forgot about
high.
that. I was even thinking,
Yeah.
see all this. Now, getting sorry.
You start crying. You got to start laughing and keep on crying. Yeah,
exactly.
He's out of here.
No, I want Tony, and we need give them a Milsriff Row and
And I didn't even think about that. Yeah, let's give you
So
2 for 1 and cash.
Look, Milsriff Row just won a trophy with the U21s. That's a man looking on a good trajectory to be a really
I'll give you 3. Hey, Gary, I'll give you 3 players. We'll give you the player that should not be named with
you know what? As mean as I would like that, nobody's taking him. They're gonna ask you for the 65 mil along with him. That's how bad they would have to. That's how bad that's the only way they're gonna take him.
Fabio, you got Nketiah, and you got Emmitt Smith Rowe plus cash. You got to take that. You got to say, man, that's 3 players and cash up front. I mean, you got it. That's like, yeah, come on, man. That's 3 players for 1. 3 players for 1 in cash, and you can still go buy a striker if you still don't believe that Eddie Murphy can do the job. You still come on, man.
For me, one of the guys I do a show, he's been always toying with this 2 up top type thing, and it's like if you brought Tony in, could you not let Jesus just play behind him a little bit?
That would be perfect.
And then because I think he loves Jesus, and now Jesus can go back. Like when he goes back now, it's because he's already there, as opposed to he has to come back because nobody else is supporting him. Like I think our strikers get really lonely up top there, and they have to come back and support. But if Jesus is the guy coming back, and then he's got Tony in front of him,
I mean, I agree with this.
Think about it. He's got in front of him. He's got Zach and Martinelli on the wings. Like I said, I think Martinelli. I don't know about you. If you saw the match, you would know what I'm talking about. Martinelli. If he doesn't score this weekend, then he didn't learn from that Brazil game. Do you see the goal he missed?
Yeah, I saw the sitter. I watched it then. I looking right at it.
That ball right on the goalkeeper's hands.
Yeah.
He picks a corner. He puts it in the air. He scores. It was so. I was like, oh.
Remember he did that in the Liverpool game. We had a chance to win the game, and they put the ball right to the goalkeeper instead of just basic. This is why I said we got to go get this striker, because this year we have skated by several games. Go back and look at the games. Clinical finishing. That's been one of our Achilles heel this year. And there's only so many games you're going to get away with that before you're going to be hurting. And if you can fix the plug, or you can put some plumber's tape over that to seal that off by getting the striker, trust me, I'd rather spend the money now than to have the missed opportunity again. And then you're talking about hoping that you can recapture what we're doing right now.
I think, as Darren said, I think you take Tony because he's a known commodity, right?
You have to.
Any other player we take will be a project, because we're not getting awesome, right?
We can afford more projects.
Everybody else is a project. They might work. They have good talent. We know they're talented, but it's gonna we know Tony. Tony's known. We know what he can do. So if you spend extra money for him, you know what you're gonna get. And do we have to rush him in? We don't. But if he's ready to go, let him play. All right.
You can put him in those FA Cup games right out of the gate. Yeah. That's especially those earlier. You go into Brimsley Town. Come on, man. That's when you drop him in to get him back to speed. We have to get this deal.
And also, if you do bring him in, then you know what? As much Reece Nelson is healthy and he looks hungry.
Yeah,
when he comes on the pitch, he looks healthy. I know he's a backup to Saka, but we're not really playing him anyways. Jesus can play there. If we really had to go down that road, Jesus can play in there, right?
Yeah,
had to. So I kind of feel like we have answers, and I'd rather have those answers than like Reece Nelson maybe he'll get to play if Saka gets injured. That's what happens there. I want like, you know what, Saka's not having a good day. I'll bring Jesus on, or I'll shift things around.
That's how it should be.
You go out, and
that's how it should be, Gary. That's how it should be. And we should not having to go down to the bench, and we look at the bench and we see Fabio, Eddie Nketiah, 29, and that's supposed to that game we lost. Was it West Ham, Darren? I think it was West Ham. We had all three of them out there at one point. That was come on, man. Arsenal Football Club. Yeah. We're supposed to have when you look at City, and City is coming off the bench with Phil Foden. You look at Liverpool, they're players coming off the bench. And then you get to Arsenal here, Fabio Vieira. That right there, shaking their head, Darren. That's it. That's it. Shake your head.
You look at Liverpool's midfield when they won the title a couple of seasons back. They had a Fabio in there. They had Jordan Henderson and another guy, and they were all quality, strong, big, 6 foot plus, box to box, defense and attack. Like Vieira, Gilberto were. I mean, Vieira, it's probably unkind to compare anyone with Vieira, but Vieira was just up and down, good in defence and good in attack. And we ain't got no one like that. We got Declan Rice, who's more defensive than he is attackive. I think his attackive game can come on. I do think if he wants to improve, he can get goals as well and be as good as Rodri one day. I think I agree with you that he's not quite at Rodri's level at the moment, but I think he can get there one day if he really pushes and starts getting more goals. But I look at our midfield and I see Declan Rice and I don't see anyone else.
Nope.
Forget Martin Odegaard, forget Vieira, forget all these other players we got. The only midfielder we've got is Rice. I'm excluding Partey because from what I'm hearing, the guy's not going to be at Arsenal Football Club anymore. Yeah.
And I've heard the same.
That's why I feel like we need a midfielder over a striker because you right now, Erdegaard isn't giving us what he gave us. No way is he getting close to 15 goals.
Absolutely,
where he is right now. Right?
You know what that is as well, right? At the Man City game, Odegaard spent the whole game on his own in space in the middle of the pitch, and our players couldn't get the ball to him. We could not get the ball to him. So I think Odegaard's problem is what Arteta's telling them all to do. We're not last season.
We hide
had the ball in the last third of the pitch all the time. This season, Odegaard is not getting any time on the ball outside that penalty area, and I don't know why. I don't know why Arteta's gone from attacking football last season to try and copy the model of Jose Mourinho.
I think Darren and Garrett put it coming to you. I think that Liverpool game messed him up so bad last year that he just the last 7 games last year just messed him up so bad.
Yeah.
Mentally, he's second guessing himself.
Yeah.
And like you said, we've gone from offensive to complete total defensive ball possession. I think there was one stat there in about 3 or 4 of those games there in that stretch we had where we had like 80% of the ball and we were drawing and losing games. 80% at one time. We had almost all the possession and we're losing games. Or we were barely winning, like 1-0, drawing. That's tinkering. And this manager, I keep saying it. I alluded to it a second ago when Gary was talking about Tony. I don't know why we won't go to a 4-4-2. A 4-4-2 would suit this team to high heavens because you've got a team full of midfielders. All you need is the 2 strikers to play up top. Jesus and whoever the main striker is. All of them can play across you still can play across the top and still get what you need. I just don't see why we're not looking at this thing for what it is. As LeBron James had a saying about 6 years ago, we are top heavy as shit. Arsenal is top heavy as shit because we've got players who like Odegaard, Jorginho. We've got a bunch of players that are actually contributing nothing. And when you have a bunch of players that are contributing nothing, then that's when you start to see the cracks in the cement there. Gary, go ahead, brother.
I was gonna say we're talking about the midfielders and only Rice there. What a lot of times, at least I don't know what they call it. I call it hiding behind the defense. Like none of our not enough of our midfield will show for the ball. Like you would see Partey come in and show for the ball. They would he'd go on a half turn to split the defenders, and he's in the middle of the pitch and they're in trouble. Nobody wants to do that, and I believe I think Erdegaard should be able to do that. He's good with the ball at his feet, but he won't show for the ball. He needs to come and show for the ball. He's a big guy, I believe.
Confidence issue, Gary.
Huh?
That's a confidence issue. See, the thing with Odegaard, he's not going to do that because that's not him. And see, that goes back to what when we talk about the manager's signings, we talk about bringing in the right profile of player. We need to play midfield. And I know this because I played midfield. I started out as a striker out, and I ended basically playing midfield as I got older. But to be a midfielder, you have to want to create. You have to want to go in, get me the ball, let me find the open man. You should be able to read the play. You should know by the time you receive the ball where 4 or 5 players are without anybody even knowing. He's not that player. He's the type of a player. He's like a Denilson. Cesc Fabregas can run around and do all of the work. Denilson is somewhere lurking just in case. If you need to get him there, he's there. He's not going to take over a game the same way Cesc would take over a game. And that's what he is. He's just a complimentary midfielder. We're looking for him to be the ultimate midfielder. And that's just not going to happen. I'm just sorry.
But I mean, that's what we need. So, I know Darren was saying he was there with like a lot of space. At some point, you got to that's why at some point you always see Jesus say, "Screw it. If you're not going to give me the ball, I'll go get it. I'll go get it. I'll even start the attack myself, and I'll be in the box along with you." We've seen him do it. We know he can do it when he's healthy. Like this weekend, my lineup, I had Trossard and Jesus playing with Saka and Martinelli. Do whatever you want in the midfield, but that's what I had. I want Trossard deserves to start. Jesus, if he can play for Brazil, he better start. He better start for us.
Yeah. If he's going to start tomorrow, we got some questions to ask.
Because I believe if he can play football, he'll play football. It doesn't matter. So if he could play, you pull him at halftime. I don't care what you do, but he needs to start and be ready for this run of games that we have, right? So for me, Trossard, and what did Trossard do? He just put out a little highlight reel. Do you see the move he did over the international break? He pops the ball up in the air, and then when it's in the air, he kind of taps it away from the defender who's sliding in on him, and then he makes another play on his way. And I'm like, I want some of that in red, please. Put the red shirt on, do exactly that. And let's see, because you think about it, if you have Jesus and Trossard up top there, they can switch, and we know Trossard will go in for the ball.
I actually think Trossard could be world class. I do think.
I'm right there with you, Darren. 100%. I'm right there with you. If he was to enter the transfer market, you'd see some big teams going for him. Some very big teams would be looking to get him. And at his age, he's at the right age to take him to the next level. The question with all this, though, there's only one question: is does Arteta see what we see? Does the manager see what we see? And unfortunately, I just don't think this man has enough football tutelage to understand.
I'll give you an example, right? I'll tell you another area where I think Arteta is making a terrible mistake, right? A lot of people have slagged Raya off, saying that he's nervous and he's made mistakes and everything else. Well, the same thing was happening with Ramsdale anyway. Arteta is telling his defenders to tinker around in their own penalty area, passing around. I think what Arteta wants to do is draw the other team to press us. We get around that press, and then we hit them on a quick counter-attack. Well, I think that's backfiring on us. I think that's giving other teams hope. If they can make our defenders nervous and intercept the ball between the goalkeeper, Raya, and the defenders, all of a sudden they've got a throw or we've got a throw, they're boxing us in. And that's where it's all going wrong. You know, you should be telling the defence, right, you get the ball, and then, as you say, midfielders drop back, get the ball, spin, and off, or long ball, and alternate this sort of stuff. Not years ago, you never seen any of all this shit now. All this passing around at the back in your own box and people getting charged down and all that. It didn't exist. And I just think that is just like a ridiculous tactic. It's like reverse psychology of, right, we're going to play about with the ball at the back, play out from the back, and then we're going to draw you on, get past about your 3 or 4 of your players are going to come into our space. We'll get past them 3 or 4, and then we'll attack you with 3 or 4 of ours against 3 and 4 of yours at defence, and we'll probably beat you because we got speed kings like Saka and Martinelli. But for me, that ain't working. It's just not working. It's every game you see Raya now, and people are blaming him, but I don't think it's his fault. And I go back to Ramsdale as well, when he got caught out. I don't think that's his fault either. It's what Arteta's telling them to do, this tactical nonsense.
Yeah, I just think, and that was one of my points there. I'm trying to remember what game it was, but I remember on the watch along, I told Leon Ola, I said, I want y'all to watch this. It might have been the City game, and I kept saying the manager has instructed this man to play that ball out of the back no matter what. And he is putting the team under duress. We're going to do it tomorrow. Might even cost us a goal. Where we be passing around in the box. We pass. Go back to the goalkeeper, pass. You know, and, or we have to start from the goalkeeper. He has to go, you know. And so you start pulling players out of position to where you can get the ball up the pitch. And as a coach, I hate it when my teams would do that. I just say, when in doubt, just kick damn ball out. Just kick it up there. Just y'all figure it out up there. You all kick out, press, and then we sort it out and start and reset. But there's no reason we should be starting all the way from the back. Every time we get the ball, we have to start from the back to the next defender, to the midfielder. Then you got to go to the whoever's on the wing, or you go to your strike. This is too much work. That's how we have 80 and 90% of the game ball, Darren, in these games. Mm-hmm. And you're going, well, how does Arsenal have all this possession? It's because we're possessing in their own box. Yeah, the entire most of the game.
You know, on top of that, if we do play good defense in the midfield and we do get the ball back in the midfield, I'm like, well, you're in the midfield. Why don't you just go a couple more steps that way towards the goal, please? Yeah, that's when you're supposed to. If they give you the ball in the midfield, attack, right? Yeah. You've got Saka and Martinelli on the wing. Go, make them pay. They should not turn the ball over in midfield because we're going to make them pay. We never do it. We start moving towards the goal, and then, as you say, you know what? No. Oh, wait a second. Arteta said, what? Oh, yeah, we got to start. Get the ball all the way back. Let's get it all the way back. Yeah. all the way back to Ray, and let's build it up again. No, you punish somebody when they make a mistake. Because guess what they do to us? We make a mistake. Nobody sits back and goes, you know what? This is not the way the manager told us to play. We got to reset this thing up. No, you take advantage of it. The big teams do it all the time. That's why you play the way you are. You know, as soon as we get that ball, I say you'll see our fullbacks will take the ball up the side. There is nobody there, and all of a sudden we're turning around going back the other way. Yeah. Guess what the defense has done?
Sitting there waiting
for you when you're done, because then we'll come up and play you because you're going back anyways. Well, you'll be back. No, I always say let the defense dictate to you what's going to happen. If they come up and you go over them, so be it. You know what I mean? Whatever. I say take what they give you first, then force them to play your way.
You know,
we're good enough players to take whatever they want to do. If you want to sit back and let us dribble all the way into your half, we'll do it, and we'll make you pay for it because we'll have runners going towards the goal. Because you see it a lot of times, we're making that long ball to the striker from like way way on our side, as opposed to just taking it up, putting it in, and maybe even a better pass when you do that. So for me, I think playing from the back works sometimes, but not.
Yeah, not every time, and that's the problem. That's the problem, Gary. Is that the manager wants it every single time. And if any coach that has good common sense will look at the tape and go, "Oh, they're gonna play it out of the back. Y'all just go ahead and pressure." And that's something that you started to see right out of the gate this year. Teams will just start applying direct pressure up top, and that's where we run to that situation like that goal when we played Spurs. That's how they scored. Coming out of the back, played it right back.
How are you turned off right after scoring a goal?
Yeah, I mean
You're
that's
turned off after just scoring a goal, going up 2-1.
2-1
Right?
penalties.
We're at home, right?
Dart throwing.
Yep, dart throwing, lollygagging. Yeah, but see that's what happened when you plan out of the back. And this is we talking about Odegaard earlier. This is one of my criticisms of Odegaard this year. Odegaard gets the ball, and instead of him looking. You know that game this year was it the Champions League there? That was it who made the pass? Was it Jesus passed to Trossard or did somebody pass to Jesus? It was somebody made a pass. They split the two defenders. The player was in, and I said, "Well, that's the pass that Odegaard needs to be making. That right there is the pass."
Oh, you might be thinking of Jesus spun against Lons, not against Lons, Seville.
Sevilla,
that's spun in the middle and threaded it through for Martinelli.
Yeah,
was it?
That's the pass. Yeah, Sevilla. Yeah. That's the pass that a midfielder is supposed to make. Odegaard makes the pass going to the goalkeeper or to the side. That's how it's been all year. It's been sideways, backwards. And it's been like that all this year. Last year was an aberration. He scored 15 goals. Year before that, guess what he did, y'all? He did sideways, backwards. I told you he's a complimentary midfielder. If you can go back and find some old tapes when some of our old shows, Gary, and I would say he's a complimentary midfielder. And we're looking for him to be Cesc Fabregas. And it ain't going to happen. I'm sorry. It ain't going to happen.
Somebody said a minute ago, what would you do 4-4-2? I mean, the back four sort of picks itself. But I'd say the best front six we got is Rice, Partey, Martinelli out left, Saka out right, and Jesus and Trossard up top. Two up top.
That's it. Bottom line. No end of discussion. There's nothing else to talk about.
And this weekend, it doesn't matter that we don't have Partey because guess what? As soon as we get that ball, to Rice, he should have answers in front of him.
Yeah.
If Jesus does happen to come back because he needs to support the midfield a little bit, he's going to have answers when he turns. All right.
Yep.
And by the time they look up, we should have a 2-goal lead, and then they'll be done for, and then we move on from there. Because that's another thing. We have to come out of the gates ready to go. We can't be waiting for the other team to maybe show us the reason why we should score a goal. No. You come out, you hit them in the mouth, you score early and often, and then you see out the game. We need to come out and show a little bit of urgency here, because I think we got the players to do it. We kind of lull ourselves to sleep, and the next thing you know, it's a game going into. Think about it, how many times have we gone into the 40th minute going, damn, no goal, and then we all of a sudden, the light bulb goes on, bang bang, we score to get out of the half sometimes.
Or they score, and then we're scrambling. We're at the panic stations. There's several things that, as we segue into the games, tomorrow's game, there's several things I want to see going forward for the next couple of games, because I think we're back on the Champions League the next week. Well, not this week, but next Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever. So we're back on that next week. I want to see Arsenal coming out of the gate, like you said. 2-3-0 out of the way. This done. Let's get this out of the way. Or if we're in a situation and we need to make substitutions, early substitutions. How often this year we've looked and the manager is waiting to either they score a goal or they make a substitution. He makes the substitute. He's retroactive instead of proactive. He does not make the proper move. We have got to come out tomorrow, because I'm here to tell y'all, Brentford, we should beat Brentford tomorrow, but I just know, and I told Jess this, we come off our international breaks so bad. I don't know if anybody noticed that. When we come off international break, those are some of the worst games we play.
Yeah.
Worst. You remember the game last year? We had Party coming back 12 hours. He come in, gets hurt. Early this year, I think that was a loss we had this year. International break, or it was a draw. I mean, we've got to come out tomorrow and we've got to dictate the game. I want to see a strong lineup, but my gut tells me I'm going to see the same two jackasses that we normally see out there tomorrow. They're going to be starting it up, and I'm going to have to sit there and shake my head. And I just want to see us come out tomorrow and with a statement. We need a strong statement game, getting ready to go into this run into the month of December. Darren, your thoughts on tomorrow's game, brother?
Well, I think it could be a 1-1 draw tomorrow. I'm not entirely convinced. Yeah, we beat Seville 2-0 and we beat Burnley 3-1. And, so they were sort of standard sort of performances. But, Brentford, I mean, they're not an easy team to play against. If you underestimate them, you're going to be in trouble. And an example I've just given a minute ago, when you mentioned the Tottenham game, look what Saka did after he scored that penalty. Started throwing a dart, So it's like, well, we're 2-1 up. Tottenham are a threat, but I'm going to do a dart celebrate. And I know, he's celebrating a goal and all that. But then they went and equalised, and they could have got another one or another two. The attitude don't seem to be there this year. It don't. It's like almost
you have
like
to back it up, though. You got to.
They've won their Champions League trophy last season by qualifying for the Champions League, and now they're finding it hard to motivate themselves to think, well, what do we do next? Because we've just done what the club want. We're back in the Champions League. As long as we put these regulation performances in, beat the lesser teams. All right, we beat Man City 1-0, but that was a cup tie, really. And let's be honest, they never had Rodri. And they never had De Bruyne. All right, we never had one or two players, but I won't be surprised if we win. But I would say if I'm going to predict, I'll go for a 1-1 because I think something is wrong. Well, I think a lot of things are wrong, and as you say, Matt, it's only a matter of time before we get found out, and I think we could get found out with just a draw tomorrow.
Yeah, because you get a draw tomorrow and it's back to chaos. I just really think that this season is going to be a marathon. We have to cross every T and dot every I. I feel like we have to do everything right in order for us to be put in the best position to be successful this year, and that means the games like tomorrow we got to find a way to win it, man. I mean, we have to win. I mean, you can go look at last season, look at the number of draws, and just look at the opportunities lost. This is where, remember last year, fellas, I kept saying the first part of the season is usually where you really, your pattern is. If you do what you're supposed to do, then you'll be in a better place come March and April. But if you blow it, you get draw. Like you said, draw. I saw the brother there, Hybrid, said he feels it's a 2-2 draw. I agree with you. I mean, our goal scoring issues. We have We have legit goal scoring issues. Mm-hmm. I mean, I thank God Trossard, put in the performance he did. But goes back to this question, Gary. Before I come to you, is that it's like I said, does Trossard start tomorrow? Is we going to see Jesus? Who's going to get the drop tomorrow? Somebody's going to get the drop. Is Saka healthy? That's still floating around out there. So I mean, it's so many variables in place. Going into this game tomorrow, game, people will say it's not a massive game, but everything that we've got going forward is massive for this football club.
Yeah. And the way this weekend's going to start with that big one is that Anfield, right? Is that Anfield or where is it?
Anfield. No, Brentford. We're playing Brentford.
No, the first game of the season.
Yeah, we go to Anfield. We go to Anfield right out the gate this year.
Emirates. The Emirates game starts the weekend off, right? And so that one will tell us.
The Man City Liverpool game tomorrow. Okay, I'm sorry.
We'll know where we stand, right? We might be four points off, or we might just be 2. And we need to go out there and perform, like you said. We need to get the win. I just we can't be playing a man down. All right, you know what I mean when I say
know what you mean. I know what you're referring to. I know what you're talking
11
about.
players on the pitch all can contribute. If Erdegaard isn't healthy, then he don't play. If he can't give us what we need, I think we need him to be close to where he was last season. I can't even say this season. We're still waiting for that to show up. We can't be playing a man down. Like if you put if we play the 2-man down midfield, if you know what I mean, like if Erdegaard's not 100% and they put the other man in there in the midfield, that's 2 men down in the midfield for us. And we don't need to give Brentford any help.
Jorginho and Vieira in midfield. It's not a good look.
Well, no, Vieira suspended 3 games.
Yeah, so they ain't put Vieira.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying if we put number 29 and a not sure Erdegaard in there, then we're playing down. And once again, just play the best players that are available. Trossard should be easy to start in this one. Jesus, if he's playing, he's playing. He's got to play. Like I said, we can't be drawing this game.
No, draw tomorrow is
you can't draw this game tomorrow. Like they need to go out there and play with, like I said, once again, play with a sense of urgency. Not like it's all right if we just get through this one. No. We need, like, you haven't played in like 2 weeks. Let's do this. I mean, the way Saka played, I think for England was one of the best things they had going for them. Rice, another one, best thing England had going for them. We saw Martinelli maybe score. He should be itching to score. Jesus made it through 90 minutes. That should be a plus. Trossard looked like a man ready to start for Arsenal again. You got 4 answers right there. Help them out, So that's kind of what I want to see. I had in my head, this is me, I guess. I'm on. I'm not on the downers and the what are you guys on? The team we have, we should be able to easily be up 2 goals on them, no matter what. Take whatever you want, 2-0, 3-1. We should be able to do that. I always say this team is good for 3 goals on anyone, and we should be. We should be easily able to put 3 goals on anyone and everyone that we play, even the cities, because we have enough talented players to do that. We haven't seen it yet, but that's when I know things are kind of clicking, when I can easily see 3 goals going in for us. We need to get back there, but I think, like I said, the 2-goal lead, I can see a 2-0. Our defense is just too strong for most teams. The only way we're going to make a mistake is if we let the midfield lets us down, right? And then puts a little bit of pressure on that back line, and then a little mistake here or there, and bang, they get a goal. But we can't. Arteta needs to come out, like, get these guys ready to play. Who cares what they did last week? They need to play. And if we have to pull them at halftime because we got a 2-0 lead, then that's what you do. And like you said, Arteta needs to use his man management skills or whatever that he's gotten. If Jesus comes out, we're up 2-0, like we should be. If Jesus starts, we should be up 2-0. And then if you're like, you know what, you're lagging for me there, you come out, and then let a maybe Nketiah come in or something. I don't know, and run and chase those guys a little bit. So, but yeah, I have a 2-goal lead for us.
2-0. You going 2-0?
2-0. Yeah.
Darren, you 1-1 tomorrow? You going 1-1 tomorrow?
1-1.
I will go 2-1 with the late goal. I just have a feeling it's going to be a late goal. The reason I say that, I go back to let's go back to the Carabao Cup, because I think it was the Carabao Cup we played them. They couldn't hit this. They couldn't score. Brentford could not score. If Brentford could have scored, we probably would have got put out the first round. So yeah, the Mars game is going to be a little bit tricky. 2-1. I think it's going to be the goal. I feel like Saka might get one in. I feel like we'll probably get one from like Martinelli, the Trossard. Jesus he's got to get out of his head. He's mentally in his head now, so he's got to get out of his head, and he has to start saying to himself that he can score a goal. So that's that. And I think that's everything, man. I have thoroughly enjoyed this convo tonight, y'all. It's been good.
Fun.
It's been good. This has been good. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. I think we are at 40 likes. Yeah. Amazing.
No, I just see a comment. Tomiyasu starts for me.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
I missed. Yeah. No doubt about it. Now,
sorry, dude. You lost your spot.
Hey, Gary, let me throw this out there before we go. And shout out to Tony Clark Gunner for bringing this up. He brought this up last week that I hadn't even thought about. I hadn't heard anybody mention this. Not a lot of people saying this, but do you know that we're going to be without Tamayasu for the first part of the year because he's going to be in the Asian? Yeah. Darren, hadn't even thought about it. Yeah, we are.
Arteta knows how to. Arteta knows, doesn't he, how to build a squad.
Here's the tissue. Here's the tissue. Like you say, Partey will be healthy. Whatever they leave, let's see, New Year's Eve, whatever. We have a game. He'll come on, give us 20 minutes, go to AFCON, play like 3 to 4 games, and then
get him a starter fight
team again.
Yeah, I mean, we have got some major things to look at here. This is why you have to win these games like tomorrow. You gotta win because I mean these are you got to take what you can get in front of you because we don't know what the beginning of the year is going to behold. We got two. We got one that's probably going to be sold. You got another one. My thing with Tamiyasu is that he's playing great, and I'm gonna tell you why he's playing great. He's not been injured this year. This is the first year that he's been healthy.
You're knocking on wood, and just playing him like he's a starting left back.
I'm knocking on it now. Knocking on it now. So hopefully he'll stay healthy, and we can get what we can get out of him until he leaves. Darren, shout out your channel, brother.
Yeah, I've not got a channel, but I'm Darren Sullivan 49 on Instagram. I do a few musical images and stuff around Arsenal Football Club mainly. And every Friday night, I do an evening kickoff around about 5 o'clock UK time to 10 o'clock UK time. And occasionally I might do a halftime rant, halftime hairdryer, I call it. I'll pick a game. If I've got time, I'll just get on the camera and start talking about how I think it's going. I might even do one this Wednesday for the Lons at home game because I'll be in the ground. So look out for that.
You gotta do that video at Willstone tomorrow, man.
Yeah.
If this was number 29, he would have done that.
Yeah, I want to see some of these hard working midfielders. Yeah. All right, Gary, brother, shout out your channel, my friend.
Yes, so check me out, DWTT. You type DWTT Arsenal in the search, you'll see I pop up. Tomorrow we have our the road trip where we just talk about a little bit of football and a lot about all the other stuff. But then on Mondays on the trip we talk probably about Arsenal, a lot more football. So check me out there, DWTT on YouTube. Plus you see me on lots of other channels. So there you go.
Yep, and we'll be getting them back. We'll be getting both of these two gentlemen back here soon. We'll definitely be with that January transfer window. We'll be doing our discussions, so we'll be back. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you for joining us on this Friday, wherever you are in the world. We appreciate your support. Make sure you share, like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to these gentlemen. Make sure you follow Darren on Instagram. Make sure you follow Gary. They have a lively chat on Monday. Much more laid back on Mondays. And also tomorrow, a very special treat will be going on with Lee Gunner tomorrow. We're going to be doing a watch along. It will be me, Lee Gunner, Northside, and Ola tomorrow. It will be scenes on that watch along tomorrow. And God forbid we lose that game tomorrow. It will be ultra scenes, but we're looking for a big win tomorrow. We're looking for Arsenal to get the 3 points, and we're going to have a good time tomorrow. So you all make sure you check us out tomorrow over on Lee's fan cam. So, all right, with that, we are out. Everybody have a good night. Y'all be safe, and we'll catch y'all again soon. Peace.